David, thanks for joining me this morning. Let's crack straight on with the interview. What are the water supply, water fittings regulations, and why are they important?
Yeah, morning, Tom. The current water fittings regulations, they actually replaced the old water bylaws back in 1999. So now we have national regulations. Essentially, these regulations, they'll cover all kinds of plumbing connections to the mains water supply across the UK. They are typically referred to as regulations. This is aimed in Wales, England, and Northern Ireland, but Scotland referred to them as bylaws. They cover all kinds of legal requirements for plumbing products and the systems across the UK, such as the design of products or the installation, materials of construction, maintenance, and in some cases, notification to the water suppliers. Manufacturers and installers really need to be aware of these regulations. It's the law. For most products, the current CE marking requirements or the new UK conformity mark won't satisfy these regulations.
So why is it important to have an approval in place to show that your products comply?
Well, you have to ensure that your products comply with these regulations when they are correctly installed. Despite popular belief, product approvals or certificates are not a legal requirement of these regulations. However, without a third-party approval or certificate, many manufacturers, not all, but many manufacturers and installers would find it very difficult to demonstrate to the water company during the regulation enforcement process how their product complies. Ultimately, no installer or contractor would want to be faced with a delay in a water connection to a new build, or even a demand to remove any installed products from an existing water connection. The water companies have the legal power to enforce these regulations. Of course, you'd expect the water companies to take several steps before enforcing a removal if you can't reasonably demonstrate how your products or the installation complies. But in the case of a public health risk, they could act immediately. Our Kiwa UK Reg 4 scheme is one of those choices available to the manufacturers and installers to avoid these situations. It would provide confidence to the user and the installer that the products are third-party tested and approved. And in some cases, the water company would just accept it on the face of it.
So, David, tell me about the Kiwa UK Reg 4 compliance scheme and how it provides assurance that products do comply.
Within regulations, Regulation 4.1a states that every water fitting shall be of an appropriate quality and standard. And then 4.2, Regulation 4.2, tells us what options are available to demonstrate compliance. Historically, in the UK, we've used a series of tests known as the regulator specifications. However, we can make use of British standards or European standards, but only if we can demonstrate that those standards are appropriate. Our colleagues in the Netherlands have such a long history of product certification in this area, and they use European standards within their guidelines. So we're able to work closely with our European colleagues. So we can test the products within a range of different accredited laboratories that we have throughout the Kiwa Group to avoid repeat testing on a rolling basis. We can make use of the certification schemes provided by the other Kiwa offices. Within Kiwa, we have a business sector for water. So we can meet and discuss mutual issues from colleagues across from, of course, the UK, Netherlands, Germany, Nordics, Italy, and also China. So we can make better use of the technical knowledge and the product data that we already have within the Kiwa Group.
So for those BMA members know Kiwa very well, most of them. For those that don't, how do they go about getting on the Kiwa Reg 4 compliance scheme?
Well, first you have to make contact. You can either contact us directly in Kiwa UK, or if a member is located overseas, they can make contact in their country if we have an office there. They may be able to help you directly in that local Kiwa office. If not, they'll redirect you back to ourselves. One of our guys in the project team will be able to take over and advise the next steps. We can set up an initial meeting to see if there are any fundamental issues that we can see regarding the design or the materials. And then we can discuss the process and agree a test and a certification schedule. We can start afresh, or we can assess new information that Kiwa may have already on file, and then we can discuss the whole process. The tests can be different depending on the product that we see in front of us, but the actual structure of the process, the documentation review, the materials assessment, the mechanical and performance testing, the certification, and sometimes inspections should all be a similar process. It's always our intention to make sure that the whole process goes as smooth as possible. Therefore, we would always recommend a kick-off meeting to get things started. We can look at these individual obvious obstacles that we know are in the system to make the process much easier and smoother. With lockdown easing at the moment, we'd recommend face-to-face meetings. Teams meetings are suitable. We can get at least past the first hurdle. We are conscious of these critical timescales that manufacturers are facing when looking for product approvals, and we try our best to reduce or streamline the test and certification processes wherever we can.
David, great to catch up.
Cheers, Tom.